John Mark Anthony. Just go do it already. Okay, I'm hoping, because I haven't used this camera for a while, that the battery doesn't just click off. I'm going to talk to you about something that's really serious at a time like this in the year. And it's to do with basically loneliness. Now, many people have great and wonderful experiences to do with Christmas, but there's many of us that have had really bad things that have happened at that time of year. Sometimes it can be a loved one passing away or near to passing away, then they pass away between now and New Year's. You might actually be going through that kind of scenario right now. It could be a case of strange relationships with close family members or with your family and so forth. I've had that. I've experienced that. I've experienced that a lot. I'm still experiencing that in my life right now to this day. And this is stuff that I don't share. Not because I don't want to, because I do, but it's because of the seriousness of the matter, and obviously YouTube being a social platform where things can just be misinterpreted or have things done with or thrown back in your face later on. So there's things that I experience every single year that I work through and I live through. And life has got a funny way of throwing things like a curveball at you when you're going through some of the darkest times. And that's what kind of happened to me with how I met my wife Sana. I was going through a serious dark time, real serious dark time must be probably about 12 years ago now. And that's the whole reason why in my day 40 recording, I said, if you're going through hard times, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it's like, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is things that you can do. There's ways that you can begin to confront those challenges and put yourself in a position and in a place where you can just completely turn your life around. I was in a place before I met my wife where I was completely unhappy with who I was, what I was in, and how I was living my life. And once finding my wife and then us becoming an item and then getting engaged, and the resistance I had from my life that I was wanting still to embrace, but it was trying to control and impede and just take over me. I had to make a decision. And I chose my wife, and the offense and the effect that caused my side of the family was just, I was shocked on the stuff and the things that started coming out. And during that time I tried to work to try to build up things and fix things. And some of the things I'd done wasn't that great, but I didn't kind of do loads of wrong things in a sense. But the way I felt, and I was controlled and manipulated, and I used to try to share and explain how I was feeling, got me nowhere. To a point where I ended up being diagnosed with clinical depression, like severe clinical depression, debilitating, off-key, crushing depression. And you can see I'm very jovial, I'm very upbeat, and I'm very just in your face. I can be just, there's loads of different dynamics to myself. But it's like tendency to slip almost into a kind of scenario and series of bipolar. And when I brought this fact to my family, on my side, the support I got was zero, was nothing. And that just, I can't even explain what it done to me. The hurt and everything else. I'd been hurt and so much stuff had happened before that. So many things have been said and done, and injustices and everything else. And I'm just saying all this and sharing to say that so often there's things that we go through and we think we're the only ones going through it or have gone through it. And then so often, sometimes as well, some of you other listeners might be the person actually doing it to a close friend or a family member. And you think that you're not because of views or points of views or beliefs or understandings and so forth. And you're hurting other people. Or you're being hurt by other people. No matter what side you are on that fence, I want you to try and recognize and look at who you are and what side you are on. And I mean, for me, the offenses are so, it hurts so much because I'm one person and then there's all my family. Do you see what I'm saying? And I was always the person in my family that anytime if anything ever happened, I would be the one who stand up and try and fix or correct or mend and fix stuff. And I've done that for almost everyone in my family for one reason or another, close and not so close. I was like the vanguard who would step in, and then it's almost like everyone just came against who I was and my decision to be with my wife. And after that, just the continual onslaught. And just the impossibility of forever trying to keep fixing and pleasing, but not seeing that thing being reciprocated. It debilitated me. It made me bedridden. I put on pounds and kilos. I went to a point where I was just in my bed all day. Sometimes crying. Sometimes thinking about taking my own life. Putting more and more weight on. My life was smashed. And I was explaining it to my family. And still nothing. All they could see is what they were going through, what they're doing as a family. I was trying to share how I was as an individual, wanting to try to have something where we could feel like a family again. It wasn't happening. Then I expressed the diagnosis that was given to me. Then I was told, don't believe you. I mean, to work with these kind of things, the don't believe you wasn't so forthright. I heard that later on, as in, oh, we thought you was just, we didn't think it was real. The amount of things I've gone through in my life to become and to be where I am, there's some serious things I have not shared. And will I or won't I don't know. But what I want to say is, for those people, those individuals who are watching this, who fall on this, and you're alone, you feel lonely, and you've got the possibility of going through Christmas by yourself. I've experienced that. I've experienced being totally isolated by myself, trying to find, going to friends and stuff, trying to go somewhere. Why, people who are called friends at the time. And having nowhere, because everyone's too busy or everyone's locking off their phone and this and that, and then just having to just go through that time. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, because that happened. And then, literally, just after New Year's, or just after New Year's, I met my wife. And I want to say there's hope. That happened at a complete diabolical time to do. Those two instances to do with being diagnosed with depression and everything else and meeting my wife, they are quite far away. That side of things happened whilst with my wife and everything else. It didn't become easier in any shape or form, but it came easier in the sense of me finding my wife. And finding my way and finding a new life and a new family just to encounter life with. And I say that talking to as someone that has experienced feeling isolated, going through things, not knowing why I was experiencing things, not knowing why things were happening, then acknowledging and finding out what those things are, then conveying it to your immediate family, and your family just... And you have been there. Don't get me wrong, my family have been there for particular things in my life as well. But you've been there for every individual. Not everyone had been there for me all the time. I've been there for them all the time in particular times. You can tell what kind of person I am. I'm enthusiastic. I haven't got loads of viewers. I haven't got loads of subscribers. I haven't got loads of anything. But what I have got is loads of passion and enthusiasm. And then I try to give that, and that's how I've always been as a person. That's why I've worked as a youth worker. I've worked with the homeless. I've worked as a project manager for a youth organisation, as mentor young to hard to reach young boys and girls. I've given over time. I've done sabbaticals. Life is so short and life is fleeting. But the decisions that people make sometimes towards one another is so destructive. And if you're a person that's forever trying to fix something and it's not fixing, and then you're getting into your 40s like I was in my 40s, or you're in your 30s, or so forth, you have to come to a point when you've got to make a decision in regards to what you're going to try to do, to try to just become and be who you want to be. And try to better yourself, because sometimes the very people that are the closest to you supposedly are the very people who will rip and destroy you. Not always though. So there is hope. And if you're in a situation where you are in a good situation and you've got good relationships, be thankful for that, and then try to look around at other members of your family or friends that may not have the same experience as you, and reach out to them at this time. Make a point of doing an email or a call or a text. Let them know that you're there, but be really there for them and arrange to meet or speak to them soon. If you're a person that doesn't celebrate the holidays, that's fine. But celebrate someone and let them know that you care for them. Because I experienced a time in my life, I've experienced it quite a few times unfortunately, why I haven't had that. Okay? I just went really broad. But I dropped a couple of pebbles into the water just to let the ripples go out, and hopefully can affect people, no matter who you are or where you are in your life right now, if you're experiencing things that are not great. But to do with depression, to do with bipolar, to do with things like that, there's a way out without medication. Without having to go through therapy, without having to just have your life teared down and teared up and everything else. I've tried all that. It done nothing for me. It made things worse for me. It messed me up. Some people say, yes, so it holds me together. I'll tell you what can hold you together. Exercise. Getting out there. Switching your life back on. Your diet, what you're eating. Thinking because sometimes there's things that can set you off that you don't even know. You can be triggered by things. But I think by food. People say you can be triggered by this thing. It's not. It's just you getting a hold of your life. That's my opinion. Other people have their own opinion. I was shipwrecked. I put on stones, which means kilos, which means... Camera just flicked off. There's some intermittent problem with it. That's what I said about it switching off. Typical, isn't it? But I put on so much weight. And I got to a point where I couldn't socialize. I couldn't even go shopping. I couldn't even leave the home. I was bedridden. And that was literally probably 2012 that was happening. 2011, 2012. I was in that situation for months. For a good 6-7 months. Look at me now. There's so many people that have got a story. There's so many people that have had a journey. But I want you to put yourself and your story and your journey no longer on pause. I want you to start moving forward. If you've got plans, desires, dreams, aspirations, and you're being held back because you're an introvert and not an extrovert, don't let that hold you back. Think about how you can work around that. If you've got a debilitating kind of mental problem or mental health issue, don't let that be the thing that stops you. Don't let that be the reason. It depends on obviously how severe it is. Mine was severe, but I'm severely a motivational, passionate, projection thinking kind of I want my life to change person. And I know that all of us, none of us sits, well, I can't say it because there are many of us that can sit there and consume. And I did have a state of mind where I'd done that. I started bringing in woe with me and everything had started sucking it into my life. And you could be doing that with your eating habits. You could be doing that to do with your business. You could be doing that to do with a failed marriage or a failed relationship or a failed career or university's gone all skew with and everything else. At this time of year, these things can consume you to make you habitually start drinking more or eating more or snorting more or injecting more or smoking more or doing something more that is negative. Please don't do that. Trust me, don't do that. And if you do, or you are, stop. This is heartfelt and there's so much I want to give. But unfortunately, the world as it is can take it, contaminate it, distort it, and throw it back at you. So just take the emphasis of some of the bits I've taken where you can relate. And think, you know what? That guy John, he made some sense there. And I just want to make a decision just to change. And let 2017 be that year that you change. That you make a difference, whether it's for a family member, for a friend, or most importantly, for yourself. Because if you decide to make a difference for yourself, that change becomes infectious. And you begin to basically get on top and get into other people's lives in a good way. Or in a way that's transformational, that's encouraging, that can develop and can build up. Be a changer. And start first and foremost in your mind and in your heart. And in your body and in what you eat. And in what you do with your body. Those things have helped me so much to do with what I'm eating, to do with my exercise, that it helps and it becomes infectious with regards to do with my thinking. It helps me to just get on track. Exercise is a massive thing. Movement, getting out, seeing things, smelling the air, getting in amongst the hustle and bustle of life, just with your headphones. If you can't deal with people, but just getting out there again. Even if you're lonely, getting out there. Don't shut yourself off in front of a computer screen or in front of your phone or in front of your laptop, just typing and talking to people virtually and you're kind of isolated. You need to just get out there. Even if you're just walking amongst and no one sees you and you feel like you're all alone and you're invisible. Just the fact that you're out there, you will get to a point where you will make a connection with someone that will make a difference in your life. It could be a future husband, a future wife, a future boyfriend, a future girlfriend. It could be a future best friend, a future colleague, an assistant, an associate that means a lot to you, that begins to kind of understand you. If you made yourself unavailable and unattainable and you're far off and you've locked yourself off, think of how you can make yourself available and more open this year. You've had so many hurts and pains, you've got so many battle scars, you might as well get a few more to try and just get one new person in your life that's going to help, that's going to encourage you, or is going to just make you laugh. And if you're on the other side and you've got people that make you laugh and you've already got the family and you're already encouraged and you've got the dollar and you've got the body and you've got this or you've got many things and you're sitting there, not gloating, but you're kind of thinking, wow, I'm thankful. Wake up. There's someone in your family, there's someone in your circle of influence, there's someone who you know who's an associate, maybe somewhere where you work or at a university or a school or a family member that's right now just going through it hard. Don't give them a pity party, but let them know that you're there for them and be there for them. You don't have to be there for them forever, but be there for them a little bit and learn to be a giver. Okay, I'm not saying you're not a giver, but learn to give to people that you find it hard to give to sometimes. I'm telling you stuff that I've done in my life that I do. I don't know how long I'll be doing this on YouTube. But it'd be nice if I can think, I get a message that just helps one person to do with obesity, to do with exercise, to do with encouraging other people to be encouraged. It'd be nice if I speak to someone and they think, you know what, I'm no longer going to eat animal products. Or I'm no longer going to overeat. Or I'm no longer not going to go to the gym. Or I'm no longer going to be controlled by my feelings and emotions to do with how I eat, or whether I go to the gym, or whether I'll exercise. These are just some of the things I've talked about. There's many other things that I've touched and dabbled in bit by bit. But depression is a serious thing. Mental anxieties around people is a serious thing. And what happens is, with depression, it comes in and it swarms in you, it takes you over. It's almost like Z Nation with that zombie thing with Brad Pitt. I don't know, I think it's called Z Nation, I can't remember. Where you see the zombies and they come in and just like they're building up, they just build and they're running, they chase after you. That's what depression does for you when you start embracing it. And people say, I understand, because I've had it for years and I didn't know what it was, and I was working through it all the time. Until it got to a point where and it was it was caused by so many things that was being done to me negatively. And I didn't know how to deal with things. So I know it's a reality. But help starts at home, and your home is within your heart and within your mind. Start there. And start as your means to go on. Start with a vision to finish and to reach your goal. That attainment of goal that you want in your life. And it could take a year, it could take 5 years, it could take 10 years, but you need to start. Whatever it is. As long as it's positive, as long as it's going to bring change that's positive in your life and allow you to bring positivity to others around you or people that you're going to meet in the future, make that decision to change and to move and take action. Just go do it already. This is John Mark Anthony. Keep on keeping on. Have a merry, happy, crazy, exuberant, exhilarating Christmas. And a boom boom New Year.